Okay, good evening. Call to order. If we could rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we will start. This is the public hearing. And the first order of business on the public hearing is a presentation on the determination of capacity for 283 BPR LLC concerning a development at 225 and 235 Flanders Road. So is there anyone here tonight that wants to address the board or the commission?
I think Mr. Pizzali was just here. I don't know if he just stepped out.
We'll just we'll wait a minute, give him a chance to. Okay, so we'll just we'll sit tight for a few minutes while your attorney has a chance to get here.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course.
I can give a little background, I guess.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
So, yeah, I'll go first and present what I want to put in the record. Good evening, Ben North, East Lyme Water and Sewer. The applicant is 283 Boston Post Road, or BPR LLC, and is requesting 3,250 gallons of capacity for 48 housing units on 225 and 235 Flanders Road. And this was something that we received last month and decided to hold a public hearing on, which we typically do with sewer capacity allocations. I wanted first just get some housekeeping out of the way, that there is a copy of the publisher certificate where this was properly noticed in the day newspaper at least 10 days from the public hearing, which is tonight, and that's Exhibit 1. Exhibit 2 is the applications for determination of adequacy of sewer capacity pursuant to General Statutes Section 7-246, A, parentheses A, parentheses 1, which is our sewer capacity allocation regulation that governs this process. You also have Exhibit 3, which is the sewer department's update. And this is an update from May 2025 that I've been using for the past couple months because it's always going to change a little bit month by month, but this is the same exhibit that I presented before, and it's also the exhibit that is with the Board of Selectmen for their public hearing. So I wanted to make sure that stayed congruent. Exhibit 4 is the request and the application. And so you see that starting with the letter from J. Robert Fanner Associates, with the survey of the property, the A2, and a location of it with it in regards to the sewer shed, proof of ownership of the land for the applicant, and a analysis for capacity that the applicant has looked at 3 similar developments and looked at 3 years worth of data for each one of those developments. That would be Pond Cliff, Village Crossing, and King Arthur, which are here in town. And this is a typical process that we've done before. We work with the applicant, and in this case, these 3 developments are within the East Lyme water and sewer area. And so we have per capita usage, and as we typically allow in circumstances outside of the 150 gallon per day capacity allocation per bedroom, we allow this 3 years of data from 3 separate developments that give us per capita usage, and then we use a 1.5 safety factor with that data to give ourselves a little bit of a buffer in case there's kind of unanticipated usage at the properties. So in using that capacity analysis, the Applicant is requesting 3,250 gallons of capacity for 48 units. And I also finally wanted to include, and which will be labeled as Exhibit 5, is a letter from Waller, Smith & Palmer that's titled RE Recent Moratorium Resolution Has No Effect on Pending Applications with the Water and Sewer Commission. So that applicants understand that while we're going through this process of a possible moratorium, and this commission has recommended that, it's still awaiting approval with the Board of Selectmen, and therefore any applications that are received up until after that ordinance has been enacted will be treated just as they are right now, grandfathered into our current regulations. So I just wanted to clear those things up right now, and those are the only things I need to add into the record, and I can let the applicant speak a little bit.
Thank you, Ben. All right, is there anyone else that wishes to address the commission?
So, Jason Pazzalia, I'm the owner of 283 BPR LLC. Maybe my attorney thought it was at 7 o'clock. So I guess I'll, take a stab at it, and I won't say too much to incriminate myself, but I can answer some general questions. Or I know that he had already presented originally. I wasn't at that meeting. I was away on a vacation, and then we went to the public hearing. So if you have any general questions, I could definitely answer them. If I can't, I'll just wait, or we'll have to defer to the attorney.
Is anyone on the board that the commission?
Table his presentation until,
We could.
we have to go in order. Can we table his presentation and let do the other
Let's
one?
ask,
I'm not sure if we can do that.
are we able to,
Come back then?
Yeah, I think under the circumstances, as long as the applicant's willing to.
Absolutely.
Set that on the record, we have some other folks here for another public hearing, I think.
why don't we do that? I think that in the interest of fairness
Yeah.
Right.
to all,
I do appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
of course.
And you saved me from embarrassment.
No, you would have done fine, but, no. I don't think we need a, do you think we need a motion, Tim? Or should we do it? Yeah, so let's, all right, so, do I hear a motion to move the public hearing, by 283 BPR to be, postponed until, the end of the, public hearings tonight?
So it's just a reorder, just.
Reorder it, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Changing the agenda.
We're gonna change the sequence,
Yeah.
so it'll go last.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All right. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. So that will go at the end of the, that will go directly after what is listed as number 4. The next public hearing, presentation on determination of capacity for Landmark LLC and Jarvis LLC concerning a development at Hawkins Road. That is going, let me see here. That's going to be canceled for this evening at the request of the applicant. And we will move, later on, we will, in our regular meeting, we'll move to reschedule that, but not at the public hearing. So that's canceled for this evening, so there won't be anything. Okay, next on our list, number 4, is a public hearing, proposed supplemental sewer assessment pursuant to the resolution adopted on August 27th, 1991. All right, do I have a presentation?
Small one anyway.
Okay,
So this is a typical process that we go through every couple of years with the Water and Sewer Commission. When various people connect to the system, they are placed into the sewer assessment program where we typically decide an interest rate and a term period. The term period cannot go beyond 20 years. So that's what we have here. This is a supplemental sewer assessment that's based on the original resolution of August 27th, 1991, and amended on March 24th, 1992, and also the resolution for sewer main extension number 5, which is known as the Boston Post Road extension, which was adopted on April 28th, 2009. So the properties that are listed are those that have connected to the sewer system since about March of 2023. And so in here you'll see the resolution, which is Exhibit 1 for the public hearing record. And in that document, there is the what we call the Schedule A that's on the following page. And a lot of them are orchards developments that have been assessed, or and typically they already pay their assessment up front. So we'll be working through that, but we have to properly note that they've been assessed. As well as various properties, again, throughout the system. Some of them are in the original system from 1991, and those, like in the orchards, are in the newer sewer main extension, and that's why there's a different price for those, because that was done much more recently. So that's Exhibit 1, and that's really the only exhibit I have presented. And then I also have the motion language when we actually take up that agenda item later on during the regular meeting. I'm happy to answer any questions that the commission might have at this time.
So a lot of these tied in this last couple of years.
Yeah, some of them are tied in, some of them about to.
What are we charging them now? What did we tell them when they tied in? This is going to change on them?
There's a form that we have used since March of 2023, when that was brought up, that it appeared to be imprecise for property owners of what they would be paying when they were to tie in. And so either the applicant or the property owner, whoever came and signed the paperwork for the permit application, would get that information in their application at the time that they requested connection.
What I'm saying is that whatever we do tonight, is it going to change on them? The people that already have started to pay or tied in? Or
None of the
terms
people on
and
this list have paid anything yet.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. I
yeah,
thought
these
they
are
came
supplemental assessments for those that have tied in, and now they have to pay essentially their assessment fee, which covers the connection to our system.
But they still
They
just,
were in accordance with what we told them?
Yes. Yep, and so it would be a 20-year, that's what we're proposing, and I did discuss it with the finance director on a appropriate interest rate. It would be a 20-year term at a 5% interest rate.
And they're paying whatever the rate was that was set when that extent
Yes, sir.
was done.
Yep, so originally, the 1991 assessments were 78.38.89, and then condos were 3/4 of that amount. And so that's why you even see some on 138 Boston Post Road are still that lower amount of 58.79.17, because they were originally, they're paying off an assessment that was originally constructed in the 90s, whereas the Orchards was done in 2009, and their assessment is $12,066. Any other questions? I'll take a seat.
Do we need a motion that reads the whole thing in, or do we just need a motion that's in accordance with things?
We just need to note this, and I also want to note for the record that we did post it in the day newspaper. I think I see it in my packet.
So there's no action for us to take here?
Not during the public hearing.
Not during the
Oh,
public
okay.
hearing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there will be during the,
It's on a later agenda.
Yep.
okay, so I guess we're still waiting for Mr.
Does
Pizzaglia.
anybody want to speak about?
Yeah, does anyone have a comment on the sewer assessments?
Yeah, I should also add that I don't see Exhibit 2, but it was posted in the day newspaper
Oh, okay,
within 10 days of
Yeah.
or I should say outside of the 10-day period for the public hearing, and we have publisher certificate on file for that.
all right. So, we are still, we're still in the public hearing phase. And I know that Mr. Pizzaglia wishes to present.
Can we close this portion of the public hearing after delegations? Any public
So
comment?
you're asking about closing the public hearing on the assessments?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just ask one more time if there's anyone who
Yeah.
wishes to.
Yeah, is there anyone else that wants to address the commission on the supplemental sewer assessments? Being done, I will close the public hearing.
I think you
On-
need a motion.
pardon me?
You need a motion to do that.
Yeah, do we have a motion to close the public hearing on the supplemental sewer assessments?
So moved.
Okay, we have a second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor of closing the public hearing on the proposed supplemental sewer assessments, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Being none, the motion carries, and that public hearing is closed. We're still in a little bit of a dilemma here. I know that Mr. Pizzaglia wants to present, and we are
Now, the
at the end.
other public hearing that now is postponed, that is, they weren't ready? Or they changed their mind?
They'd asked for an extension of time. They weren't ready to present tonight.
Yeah, there's an email in your.
Yeah, I read it, but it kind of wishy-washy whether or not we have to not have it, right?
I could let my attorney answer that, but I can say that we absolutely are ready to have public hearing and properly noticed.
Okay, all right.
But we did agree, so.
Yeah, but the letter accused us of not doing something correct,
Yes.
right? That was my thing, is that, all right, we either did we do something correct or incorrect? That's your question, right?
I think the best place to address this would be on your regular agenda, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have about that then, but on number 6, when we talk about rescheduling.
So we can
Okay.
discuss that at the regular meeting.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. All right,
I saw him.
okay.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission.
Good evening. I'll just open up the hearing.
First, I want to apologize. I thought the meeting was 7
Oh,
o'clock.
that happens. So next on our agenda for the public hearing is the public hearing presentation on the determination of capacity for 283 BPR LLC concerning a development at 225 and 235 Flanders Road. So is there anyone that would like to address the commission this evening on that matter?
Good evening again. For the record, my name is Harry Heller. I'm an attorney with an office at 736 Route 32 in Uncasville, and I'm representing the applicant 283 BPR LLC. This is an application for an allocation of 3,250 gallons of sewer capacity for 48 proposed one-bedroom elderly housing units on properties at 225 and 235 Flanders Road. The property is located in the CA zoning district, and the use is a use allowed by special permit in that district. The allocation is based on a proposed flow rate of 67.7 gallons per day, which was calculated by your Water and Sewer Department in conjunction with an application earlier this year by Parker's Place LLC. And in doing so, Mr. North evaluated 3 mature projects in town in order to determine what the water usage rate was, and that's how the gallonage was calculated. Now, under your allocation ordinance, you have 2 criteria that require an application for sewer allocation. The first is flow rate of 5,000 gallons per day. This proposal is less than 5,000 gallons per day and would not qualify under that criteria. However, we do exceed 20 proposed units, so it does come under the sewer allocation ordinance based on the number of units in the project. In determining sewer allocation, you are required to consider the factors contained in your ordinance. And first exhibit that I'm going to enter into the record is a plan prepared by Robert Fanner and Associates, simply demonstrating the fact that the property is located within the sewer shed area, which I do not believe that there's any dispute over that. Got a number of those for the commission. Now, when we were before you outside of the public hearing forum last month, a question was raised as to whether or not this property could physically be served by on-site septic systems. Now, while that is not a criteria within your regulations, I do want to address the question. So I'm going to submit into the record a second print, which is the site plan that we submitted with the original sewer allocation request, but it has two overlays on it. It has incorporated the soil mapping for the site, and you can see that within the development area, there are three categories, 60B, 60C, and 60D. Those are all Canton-Charlton soils. They are Class B soils, and they are soils under the Public Health Code, which are suitable for the installation of on-site septic systems. So I would submit that this project, under the soil classification criteria, could be developed for on-site septic systems. However, the other item that is on the exhibit that I've just introduced is the aquifer protection overlay zone. And you will note that this entire property is located within the aquifer protection district. So one of the criteria that you are required to consider under your allocation ordinance is both your municipal and the state plan of conservation and development. And both the municipal and state plans of conservation and development mitigate against the installation of on-site septic systems within an aquifer protection overlay area. So we would submit that the application is consistent both with the permitting criteria under your allocation ordinance as well as the state plan of conservation and development and regulations promulgated by the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, which discourage the installation of on-site septic systems on lots less than 2 acres. The third item that I'm going to introduce into the record is an excerpt from the State Plan of Conservation and Development, which shows that the property in question is located within a suburban district classification on the State Plan of Conservation and Development. And the State Plan of Conservation and Development describes suburban areas as town centers or areas peripheral to more intense activity zones with strong commercial, civic, and transportation-related uses. So we would submit that this is an appropriate place based on both the zoning classification for the property, your municipal plan of conservation and development, and the state plan of conservation and development to locate elderly housing for rent. Now, you do have a fairly diverse array of housing opportunities in the town of East Lyme. And over the years, you've approved several age-restricted active adult communities. But those were for purchase homes. This project is proposed as a for-rent project, and this is a housing type that there is a need for in the community, and it is a product that there is not an abundance of within the town of East Lyme. If you look at your plan of conservation and development, in the demographic section, it indicates that the segment of the population in the town of East Lyme over 65 years of age is growing, while younger age profiles are decreasing in intensity. So this is both a needed product within the municipality, and it is a product that is targeted in your municipal plan of conservation and development. So for all of those reasons, we would submit that this application complies with the criteria contained in your allocation ordinance and would request that the Water and Sewer Commission grant an allocation of 3,250 gallons for this project. Subject, of course, to the parameters contained in the allocation ordinance as far as timing for filing permits and going under construction. That concludes my presentation. If there are any questions, I'll be glad to try to address them.
Any questions?
On the exhibit associated with the aquifer protection area, is this east? Is that east on this? Is the cul-de-sac in that area that's not being developed, is that outside of the aquifer protection
No,
area?
no. If it's hard to read on that. It's hard to
Is
read.
that where the line is, or where is the line?
The line is the hatched area. If you look at this one, let's look at this right here.
What is this line here representing?
That line right there is representing the 60B, which is the Canton Charlton soil type.
Okay.
So the 60B and the 60D and the
But I thought you presented this as the aquifer protection area.
it is. It's shown on there, but it's very hard to read. But if you look here, you can see the hatching if you look closely,
Okay.
and it encompasses this whole area. This whole area is
Okay.
in the aquifer protection zone.
Much clearer on this. Any additional questions? Yes, Carol?
How does the Clean Water Act come into play?
Well, the Clean Water Act is administered through the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, and in a aquifer protection zone, the Clean Water Act recommends that you not have on-site septic systems at a density of less than 1 home per 2 acres. So it really discourages development unless you have the availability of municipal sewers.
Is it a recommendation or a requirement?
It's a policy. It is not a regulation.
So we could do it, it just,
It violates the policy, yeah.
Well, this under the table. Any questions?
I'm not sure if this is a question for you or if it's a question for our town attorney. But at our regular meeting last month, when we set the public hearing, it came out about the issue of concept of induced development. Do we need to be concerned with that? Is that?
Well, I'll respond first, then I'll let Attorney Blaisdell. And induced development is not a permitting criteria in your ordinance. So I would say, no, it is not a permissible item to be considered by you in acting on the allocation. That has to be done in accordance with the ordinance. But that is the reason why I presented the information about the soil, so I could answer your question. The soils on this site are sufficient, and when I say sufficient, they're a well-drained soil, the Canton-Charlton soil. So they would support a septic system that could accommodate 3,000 gallons of flow a day, and that's why I presented that information, to answer your question.
And I don't disagree with anything that you said. Keep it short.
All right, any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further commentary from anyone in the audience here for the commission? Being none, do I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
I make the motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
You have a second. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Do I hear, and I believe that's it. So do I hear a motion to adjourn the public hearings?
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second? Second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Being none, motion carries. The public hearings are adjourned. All right. Okay, next is the regular meeting. We've already recited the Pledge of Allegiance, so I'll call the meeting to order. First on the agenda is approval of the regular meeting minutes of July 22nd, 2025. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
I have a comment. Just, there was several places in the minutes where somehow the computer repeated paragraphs. And I've given a copy to the secretary. There's marked up, and she's agreed she will correct them before the normal public hearing.
All right, then with that caveat, Yep.
I just wanted to add, just before we get started too, that, we're gonna, instead of have a possible action on item number 6, that's simply gonna be a discussion for item number 6 and to vote to set a public hearing. And as well as on item 8, it's really, we're gonna have more of a quick little intro, and then we're gonna
set a public hearing.
Public hearing, yeah.
So 6 and 8 will be setting public hearing.
Yep.
Okay.
And Attorney Blaisdell will speak more to our process and what we think of those items. So just wanted to point that out now.
Thank you. Thank you. So getting back to the minutes, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes subject to the changes that were just identified?
So moved.
Second.
I have a second. All right. Any further discussion? Any other changes or corrections to the minutes anyone's aware of? All right. Then all in favor of approving the minutes as modified, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Being none, the motion carries. All right. Next on our agenda, delegations. Do we have anyone that wishes to address the Sewer Commission this evening in the audience? I'll ask again, anyone that wants to address the Sewer Commission. All right, being none, we'll close the delegations and we'll move on to the correspondence log. I think I have a, was this the last one? Agenda item number 4. Hold on. Yeah, here I have it. Okay. So we have a correspondence log. From 8:21, there was, from the Waterford Utility Commission, the minutes for their 8:12 meeting. 8:21, East Lyme Water and Sewer Commission, from the New London Water and the WPCA. That was the agenda for the 7:24 meeting. 8:21, East Lyme Water and Sewer Commission, from Timothy Hollister of Hinckley and Allen, FOIA request with exhibit, East Lyme Landmark, dated 8/5/2025. And then 8:21 to East Lyme Water and Sewer Commission, and again from Attorney Timothy Hollister of Hinckley and Allen, follow-up letter to the First Selectman dated 8/12/2025. So that is our correspondence log. That's in the record. Item number 5, a discussion of possible action on sewer capacity allocation for 235 to 225 Flanders Road. Okay. So a few minutes ago, we heard a presentation at the public hearing, and now it's possible for us to discuss what we heard and consider possible action. Any comments, questions? What do we
Was
say?
there a recommendation from the staff? We talked about this being a de minimis application that may
Yeah.
have just
Yeah.
be approved
Exactly.
ministerially.
The only reason that this is before the commission right now is because of the unit count. And I think that's something that, in light of this application, we should probably review in terms of its applicability going forward. But certainly under our current regulations, this is why it's come before the commission, but it is under the 5,000 gallon threshold based on the calculations that have been done, and I am comfortable with those calculations. So I also would say that, in the capacity worksheet, Exhibit 3 that I presented during the public hearing, does show that we're very tight on capacity. We really don't have a lot of room for other developments of large quantity of size, but this one is much smaller, and I would say, argue it's more of a de minimis request. That's more typical of a redevelopment of areas in town instead of large new developments. And these are just simply easier for us to handle at these administrative levels because it's a small request. We're not talking about 50,000 gallons or 100,000 gallons. We're talking about 3,200. And while, as I said, are calculating different areas of what we have remaining, what has been court ordered, what is currently under development, and our Section C, which is an estimate of what we have left to provide for residents in town that have been assessed already and either haven't tied in yet or have vacant properties, that I feel that there's enough room there for us to accommodate this.
I'll make a motion that we allocate 3,250 gallons per day to 283 BPR.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Any further discussion on the matter? Being none, let's call the vote. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
That's part of the. Okay, let's see. Next, discussion of possible action sewer capacity allocation of Hawkins Road. We're going to, that was postponed, and we're going to set a public hearing. Do I hear a motion to vote to reschedule the public hearing on that matter for 9/23/2025?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Do we want to do it at 6:30 or
Yes.
7?
I give you adequate time to get posted, advertising posted.
Yes, that'll give me extra time.
I'm sorry, 6:30.
I just want to make
Oh,
sure
the time.
we have time.
Oh,
No,
oh,
we'd like 6:30.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 6:30 works.
Better than 7.
All right, so the motion will be for 9/23/2025 at 6:30. Is that right? Okay. So having said that, any further discussion?
Well, can I start with
Yeah, go ahead.
a question, I think perhaps for town attorney, in terms of the time frame that we have to review and approve things because of the confusion about the public hearing and everything.
Sure.
What kind of a time frame do we have so that we're complying with the statutory requirements, that we don't get timed out that way?
Sure. It's a great question. By rescheduling this to, or voting to schedule a public hearing for the 23rd, which is your next regularly scheduled meeting, you'll be within that time period. Unless the applicant grants you an extension, though, you will be required to make a decision that night. And we did discuss that with the applicant, and they said because we're still within the statutory time frame on that night, they didn't want to consent to one now, but they were open to discussing it if it turns out to be necessary when you get into the public hearing and you see what you have before you.
Do you see any need for us to have a special meeting and have the public hearing earlier than the 23rd?
I think that's probably a question maybe better put to Ben. No.
Just to me in terms of the timeframes.
Sure. And I might have had a different answer if the applicant had expressed some desire to have it earlier, but I think there's no reason to disturb your regular schedule. They certainly haven't asked for it, and your staff says they don't need it. So.
And when we have the hearing on the 23rd, you're saying that night we absolutely will have to make a decision unless there's agreement on an extension, or?
That's correct. Well, let me take that back. So your statutory deadline to decide is, I believe, September 25th. So potentially you do have a couple of days if you wanted to schedule a special meeting or something like that, but I don't think you would need to. It'd be better simply to ask for an extension at that point. And yeah, I think that was sure. Sir, did you want me to address the question you asked earlier?
Sure.
Okay. So part of how the request came up here is that the applicant preferred to see the same procedure that was followed, for instance, for the application that you heard tonight, where the commission voted to schedule a public hearing and then a public hearing occurred. There's no regulation or rule or ordinance statute that requires the commission to vote to schedule a public hearing. I think traditionally this commission has done so as the same way a lot of other commissions and boards in town do, simply to make sure there's quorum. Everyone knows that there's going to be a public hearing because you're all voting on it, but also it gives other members of the commission an opportunity to have a voice on and input into the agenda. But otherwise, under the standard rules, the chairman usually controls the agenda and sets the agenda. And so, for instance, with this application, I believe Ben received sort of a bare bones outline of what the application was on the day of your last meeting, and so there was a little bit of a scramble to figure out exactly what had been filed and those sorts of things. And so, we didn't have the prep time that we normally would have to put it before you and figure out what was going on and vote on it. And initially, as Ben said at the last meeting, he thought it was a preliminary application. And for various legal reasons, we're treating it as a full application. That's the best course under the case law. And after that meeting, the applicant then has supplemented their application. So there's a lot more materials that you'll be receiving when it comes time for the public hearing. So this commission did nothing wrong by having the chairman and staff schedule a public hearing, but there's also no harm in following that procedure since it was your regular procedure, and it is important to try to treat applicants the same.
Well, couldn't it be argued that it was beneficial to the applicant to move their stuff forward faster? I mean, why do they? I don't understand why they would want to take it longer, make it take longer. I think Ben did him a favor, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't want to speculate into their strategy or anything like that. Sure, but it certainly, gives Ben more time as well to look through all these documents that have been sort of trickling in for him. So,
My only question is, since after the initial paperwork was brought in and everything, basically throw a card on the table to get your name in the thing, then they came back and supplemented the information. So why wouldn't we get the time to review it with the full amount of information from the time they supplemented it? That's my question.
Well, and that was my point too, is that, okay, have they actually have they actually done the correct paperwork and have an application? Have they done it, paid the fees, done everything they're supposed to do?
They have paid the fees, and what you have before you is what they presented so far.
Okay, and now we're gonna get a whirlwind of, but we're gonna get now, we've been down this road, we're gonna get a whirlwind of stuff last minute, and then we're gonna have a public hearing, and then they're gonna want us to vote on it that night, and then they're gonna be ticked when we don't give them the answer they want because we really didn't have enough time to digest the information. Right? Is that, am I going down the wrong path?
No, I just want to say, well, hold on, let's just, I want to caution everybody against saying anything that might show that you've prejudged it, or, we want to be careful that we're not deliberating right now on the application or, the applicant or anything like that. But, in the context of a public hearing, an applicant always has the right to come in and supplement their application during the public hearing. So, for instance, earlier tonight, Attorney Heller came in and presented additional information that was not originally a part of his application. That's sort of standard practice in sort of any public hearing. It happens at zoning and planning all the time, wetlands, those sorts of things.
The information that Attorney Heller brought in was information that we asked him to provide us so we had a better understanding of whether or not we could say, put a septic system in there, or you need sewer capacity, which he very well spoke and everything like that. But that was out of a request from us for additional information. It wasn't.
Sure, I understand that. Yeah, we just have to keep in mind that applicants always have that right, and they can, amend their application in the midst of the public hearing, and that's a fairly standard thing.
I could also imagine that if there are substantial questions with the application that we have, and the applicant can't provide it, I think he would probably be more than happy to allow an extension for those same questions to be answered if it helps your decision-making process.
And that would be a good reason to request an extension from the applicant if there was a large volume of materials presented. But as we stand here now, we don't know whether there's going to be any supplementing of the application at the hearing, and we just sort of have to leave those issues and any discussion of that for the public hearing. Thank you.
I think this is a prudent course of action, what we're following, and I think it'll serve us well. Taking a moment here.
Do we need to vote? I think we still have to vote.
Yeah, it's on the, so we have to vote. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Being none, the motion carries. Okay, next is a discussion on the, let's see, supplemental sewer assessments. Yep, that's where we are. Okay. Any discussion? Do I hear a motion?
I would move that we approve the supplemental sewer assessment in accordance with staff's proposed recommendation.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion on that matter? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next, item 8 on our agenda is a discussion on sewer capacity allocation for 194, 200, and 206 Pennsylvania Avenue. Do I hear any comments? Do we want to set a public hearing?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, so I think, in what Attorney Leesdale has given us, I think it makes the most sense to simply, acknowledge that there's an application before you and to move to set a public hearing for a second public hearing for the same night, the same time.
Yep, so that would be for the
The 23rd.
23rd, 6:30? Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion that we schedule a public hearing for the discussion of secure sewer capacity allocation for 194, 200, 206 Pennsylvania Avenue on 9/23/25 at 6:30 p.m.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Yeah, we could just say to follow the.
Because they can't move it against it, seriously.
You have to follow the first one,
Follow the first one.
immediately following
Immediately
Pro-
following the other, so.
the other public hearing, okay?
I'll second.
We have a second, okay. All right, any further discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Being none, abstentions? All right, motion carries. No billing adjustments tonight?
No, sir.
That new system is working out nice, isn't it?
I'm looking at the agenda, Joe, and we have a chance of getting done in a half hour this meeting.
Yeah.
Well, you haven't heard the chairman's report yet.
Do we have anything further for Attorney Bleasdale? I think
Yeah, we can,
we covered the tough stuff.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
You're gonna miss that chairman's report, but that's okay. There's no offense taken.
I'll watch the recording.
Yeah, that's a good
Good
idea.
night, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. No, we should leave it on for, yeah, till the end of the meeting. All right, Finance Director's report, is that, it's in the packet?
Yeah, and there's actually an update to waters that is in your yellow folder. Mainly had to do with revenue. We had originally posted that we were about 98.5% of our revenue for fiscal year 25. The updated information has that we're actually at 101.5% of revenue. So we out-collected our budgeted
Wow.
revenue. And we also have, since we had a little bit of a delay because of our changeover to our new utility billing software, we are still collecting delinquent payments as of right now. And so you'll see that in the second piece of paper for your revenues, where we've collected about $257,000 in this fiscal year, which was billing from last fiscal year. So we're at a good start because we haven't even billed anything yet. But our numbers are, especially on our expense side, are pretty solid. I will say, with the caveat of the bonds and principal and interest payment lines, are still something that finance is working on, so they haven't posted those expenses yet to the water budget, but we're in pretty good shape on the water budget.
All right. Thank you. No project updates tonight, so my chairman's report will be brief. Just a couple of things. As you can see, we're moving along with the ADA improvements to the building, and it's moving along, and I think we'll meet our target date of having this completed before the mandate by the Justice Department expires. So I think we're going to be ahead of that. So.
You might as well start right after this meeting, that way.
Yeah, sorry. So I'll make it quick. Okay, and then we did, and I don't know if this doesn't affect the water and sewer, but we did order a new motor for the Boston Whalers sitting in the garage there on Grant Street, which is about 4 minutes away from the boat launch. So we will, if you really look at the map and see all the surface area we have, all the coastline we have in East Lyme, that should be functional in about 2 or 3 weeks. So as civilians take their boats out of the water, we don't have the Good Samaritans out there to help people, that's going to be ready to go right up the street. So that's that, and that's it. That's my report. Yeah.
Can you update us about the Board of Selectmen's discussions and public hearings regarding the moratorium?
Well, we will be having, it's on the agenda for our next meeting. But I don't want to comment on what they're thinking.
No, I didn't know if there was anything we should do.
No, I mean, we were making some modifications to the moratorium language that we talked about. And that will be presented at our meeting.
Yeah,
That moves.
Wednesday, third.
Yeah, that's next Wednesday. Yep. Okay, so that's it for me. Staff updates, we already, water and sewer monthly reports.
Yep, so, obviously, July, August timeframe are always our busiest times of year. About 56 million gallons produced, and
Do we have a peak day?
do we have a peak day? Yeah. Well, production report. Man, you put me on the spot.
No, it is,
All
I'm
right.
curious as to where, are we hitting that, you know?
Peak day was 2.385, so 2.4 million gallons per day, which is actually pretty good for us. When we get above 2.5, that's really when it starts to get a little nerve-wracking. And based on our agreement with New London right now, we voluntarily suspended it because we can't send them water, and so we haven't been receiving any water. So yeah,
It was
is
dry. I mean, it was
has
a
been
really
dry.
dry summer.
And we've had well 5 went down for a period of time. I believe as of the last, well, I know it for a fact as of the last storm, we were able to put it back online again. And we're hoping that we're going to get some rain on Friday. So
Okay.
we're starting to climb ourselves out of it. Knock on wood, fingers crossed. We still do have the interconnection available for emergency purposes, so New London is happy to support us. But we've been standing on our own, and a lot of it is due to a lot of the increased yields that we've done in investing in the system.
Tightening things up.
We put in a new well pump at well 4 back in March. That's been pumping well. Well 5 actually obviously had a lot of work done to it, and up until very recently it was online and producing. Again, well 2A has been carrying a lot more of the load because now it's connected into the system. So we're able to reduce our demands at Bry Brook in the areas where the DEP is concerned, and we can still produce more water outside that area. So yeah, we're in a good position. But the rain is always helpful. So if you know anybody, put in a good word.
Do a little dance.
Yeah, let me know. Yeah, and this is the first season where we do have irrigation. We have irrigation rate. We have a couple of people who are interested in it, so we're still working through that with them. I think we have our first appointment tomorrow, where they're going to be exploring the irrigation deduct system, which has its own rate and its own meter.
All right. Let's see.
Still got 90 people hanging out without meters, new meters.
Yeah, they're getting billed the fee, the annual meter fee. Yeah, I believe it's $150 for 6 months, so it's 75 each, and that's something we just voted on and approved in the last budget and rate hearing back in April. But we can certainly revisit that and see if we want to increase that rate in the future, or we could do something even more aggressive. But
Well, if we start going quarterly billing, we're gonna get $75 a, so it'll be $350 a year, right? It'll be $300 a year.
yep, I mean, you could simply just change your rate too. You could have it be reflected in a higher every 6 months rate. We're not seeing as much of a cash flow issue as we used to see in the past, where we were trying to go to quarterly billing, but it still would help cash flow, and I think it would help customers kind of stay on top of their bills a little more effectively. We did have about 200 people that were on the shut-off list. And again, what we do is we send out a delinquent notice. We got about 400 people on the delinquent notice. Then a week later, we send out the flyer where we actually go to your door and we give you that lovely yellow tag. And that was about 200 people. And then the following week, we said, okay, we got a lot of phone calls. We are doing, we are taking the credit card, we're processing it for your charge for people, and that's getting them to pay very quickly for us, so I think that's helping out a lot. But we did get down to about 50 people, and they got shut off, and they were also assessed.
We went out and shut people off? Okay.
Yeah.
And they get assessed the fee.
Yeah.
And they all get the fee at the same time, so if the 30th person, isn't day after that, everybody shut off when they started running up at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So it's fair if you're on the list, you all get shut off at the same time. So you can't penalize the first person get shut off.
Right.
Everyone gets it.
We also make sure that we clear out any kind of credit card processes that we got over the weekend, because people can still pay in, they can still use the lockbox. So we wanna clear all that out, so then we typically would start on a Tuesday. And again, we stop before an hour close of business, and we don't do any shut-offs on Fridays. We don't shut off any tenant occupied homes, but we can still assess the fee to them and then leave the property.
So how many people came right in and paid at the out of the 50? Everybody?
It's, yeah, it's, I think we're finding a lot of vacant properties. It's a little odd, you know, those haven't been as forthcoming as the ones that simply got the door tag. I think the door tag does work really well, it gets a lot of people's attention. I still will submit that it is very difficult for us to send out 200 door tags manually. I will probably be recommending that we start adding a fee when it does get to that point. I think we need to have something in between letting it go 60 days without anyone paying us, and then finally having to shut them off after a good 3 months. I think there should be something in between when we finally do get to that phase, but that's something we can talk about at our next rate hearing.
30, 60, 90.
What's that?
30, 60, 90.
Sure. Yeah. So I just want to plant the seed, something to think about, and I think we're really generous with the way we do this policy, and it's very, very time consuming, and especially if it's something that we want to consider quarterly billing, where we're going to be doing this at a very rapid rate. That's going to be a lot of personnel trying to go out and make sure people are paying the bills.
And it's a lot of the same people.
Yeah, and exactly, that's a good point. Well, the guys tell us that the curb stops that are on the shut-off list are very well in good working order, because they go out there constantly. So I think we need a little bit more of an incentive.
I think Norwich Water or one of the other water companies went to quarterly billing, but if you did quarterly billing, you had to do it with it had to be automatic.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, there's a lot of things that we can do now with this new utility billing software that gives us those opportunities to, you know, set people up on automatic billing, have their credit card set up so that they just get billed, and, you know, it's the 21st century, a lot of people are expecting that in this day and age, so. A lot of, exactly, we're just 2 months into it, but it's working well, and, you know, these are some off-the-cuff ideas, but we'll have some time to think about it at the next billing season too. Which is just about right around the corner here. You know, we're gonna be billing here in about a month.
Any other sewer updates?
Not really.
Okay.
We are still in a dry period, as Ken had mentioned. So we didn't really see any kind of major sewer flow uptick. Although it is our busy time of year. Obviously, there's a lot of tourists in town, and so I want to say it was about 20,000 gallons more than it was the month before. There's a lot of paper in this report. Oh, actually, no, there's about 12,000 less. Again, I think that's partially attributed to, you know, although we are starting to receive some precipitation, I think the water tables are a little on the low side. So I think our overall rate is about, and this is including the state facilities, right, when you're looking at this, so that's the caveat. We're about 900, 909, I think that's a reasonable amount to expect. And when you just look at us, we've been at about 711, 2-year average 763. So I think about 800 is probably what I expect overall, based on normal rainflow, rainfall conditions, and that sort of thing. In the past couple of years, we have had some pretty dry summers, so I think that's contributing to what we're seeing as a little bit of a less than what we used to see for sewer capacity. But that's what's difficult about assessing this, right? That's what I think this commission has dealt with for a long time is, you know, 1 month could look great, and then the other month isn't great, so great. And we've made a lot of strides in tightening up the system. We did just vote to have a $200,000 I&I study performed, which we're working on. So we're going to be getting boots on the ground, and we're going to be doing a lot more exploration, see areas that might have inflow.
Yes.
Does
Thank-
the fact that we're in an extra dry period have an impact on when they're doing the assessment for inflow and infiltration?
It's hard to see.
This would not be good.
You want to see it during a wet time, you know, spring is really when we're gearing up to start doing our study
Oh,
work.
that's what I
And so,
wondered because,
yeah, you get the snow melt, and then you get the April showers and
The problem is, even when it's flooded, there's no,
I think
there's
right
no
now-
evidence of whether water is going in our system.
Yeah.
That's
just, I think right now, that we're benefiting, if you will, of having reduced flow because we're in such a dry period.
Yeah.
And concerned, when normal weather patterns come, what the uptick is gonna be and how that's going to impact on available capacity. I think we have kind of like almost like a news picture right now.
But you have to remember that that rosy picture, that all the other water that comes in when it rains is not sewer water. That's what he's
Right,
talking
and
about.
that's
tightening
what we're
it
gonna
up.
close
You're
off.
not bumping your number up by having,
Right.
reaching more sewer capacity. You're actually seeing right now what you're really pushing sewer-wise because there's no infiltration going on.
Right, it gives you a more
But
accurate.
that
Yeah, there's no
does
sump
impact
pumps
our
running, there's no,
Right.
yeah,
So it's a good baseline looking right now. All right.
yeah.
So now, future agenda items, are we just gonna, anything to talk about?
I still need to meet with the capital projects committee.
Yeah.
And Joe and I are working really hard on getting you updated sewer allocation information that we're gonna be running through
Okay,
the sewer capacity subcommittee.
so we'll carry that over.
Yeah, I think that's still a few months away.
Yep.
We are going through the process now of digitizing the entire caveat list, going back since 1990, and assessing properties. I guess that's a four-word choice to use, but identifying properties within the collection system that can tie into the system, because it's not really ever been done to the degree that we're doing it now.
Yeah, well, we're trying to be more
It's
accurate.
really valuable data out of it.
Yep. All right. Okay, then I'll, with that, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.